Representative Clardy, welcome to your committee. Would you like to move your bill before us for possible inclusion in an education finance bill?
So moved.
Okay, with that, members, House File 1761 is before us. Go ahead and proceed.
I'm really excited about this bill, and part of it is the students that are here to present today. So this bill has bipartisan support. It's bill number 1761. The bill focuses on the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organization, the MFSO, agency funding, and also the Career and Technical Student Organization, the CTSO. Operation funds. So the MFSO is seeking operational funds for itself and the many CTOs that it serves. And in accordance to the Minnesota Statute 124D, 0.34, subdivision B, the state shall identify and secure appropriate funding for the basic staffing and foundations of the individual student career technical organizations. So the CTOs are intercurricular, and they bring technical skills and occupational knowledge aligned with the industry standards to prepare students for post-secondary education workforce. The CTOSs are embedded into 85% of the Minnesota CTE classrooms, and a recent study showed that 95% of the educators found that the CTOs to be an effective way to keep students engaged. And in addition, that same study looked at students that had dropped out and figured out that after talking to them, that 81% of the dropouts said that they would have been more engaged and possibly would have stuck with school had they had real world learning opportunities. So the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organizations, the MFSO, was created in 1996 to ensure the stability and provide collaborative leadership around the CTSO, the Career Technical Student Organizations. So the Minnesota CTOs serve students in middle schools, high schools, and college, and they combined, they've served over 26,000 students this year. And they are integrated with about 85% of the CTE programs across the state, with an estimated impact of more than 140,000 students. Some of the areas that are covered are agriculture, healthcare, business, marketing, manufacturing, transportation, and IT. So I'm going to just highlight 7 of them, and that's DECA, which focuses on marketing management and entrepreneurship, FFA, and it focuses on leadership, growth, career success through agricultural, food, and natural resources. The BPA, the Business and Professionals of America, focuses on just making people ready for, or students ready for world-class workforce experience by showing them leadership and citizenship and academic and technical skills. The 4th one is FFA, and it focuses on developing students in agriculture, food, and natural resources. There's also HOSA that focuses on health occupations with students, and FCCL, which is Family Consumer Science Education. And then the final one I'm going to mention is the Skills USA, and it's a partnership between students and teachers and the industry working together just to have create a skilled workforce. So with that, I think actually I'm just at this point just going to turn it over to some of our testifiers, because as you see, we have a broad classification of occupations that we cover, from sciences, agriculture, health, marketing, and construction, manufacturing, transportation, technology, so law enforcement, and cosmetology. So we have a variety of careers that we cover, and I just want to turn it over to our next testifier, Madam Chair.
Go ahead and state your name for the record and proceed.
Hi, I'm Emily Saden. I'm the director of the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organizations. Thank you for that robust introduction. I was worried you were going to say all of my testimony here. Thank you, Representative Clardy. And thank you, Madam Chair and representatives. on the committee for having us here today. I will be brief because I don't have much to say anymore, but our real experts are here today. We have students. Couple of points that I want to make. Just to reiterate, our student organizations are integrated into 85% of the career and technical education school districts, school district programs across the state. They are intercurricular, so that's what makes them unique. They're not like an after-school club. They're actually integrated into classroom curriculum. So when we're talking about Skills USA, and you might have a manufacturing program or an engineering program, it would be actually integrated into the classroom and that curriculum. And again, I feel like I don't have to even go over the areas, but we've got business BPA, which aligns with business and finance education, DECA, which aligns with marketing, hospitality, and tourism, and FCCLA, which aligns with family and career, family sciences, family and consumer sciences and early childhood education, FFA, which of course is agriculture, food, and natural resources. And if you don't know, there's the jacket. And HOSA, which is health sciences, health occupations, and I think, and Skills USA, which is technical and industrial, and that encompasses transportation, cosmetology, engineering, manufacturing, broad swath of career and technical education. Another point I want to briefly kind of drive home here is our CTSOs, our career and technical student organizations, actively drive the workforce development because the students are actually learning industry standards. That's another unique piece that the student organizations bring in the classroom. They're actually aligned with industry committees and they're creating career and technical skill assessments that are in the classroom. They host a variety of conferences where the students are able to actually showcase technical skills through competitive events that are actually judged by industry members. And a lot of times those competitions are even hosted at industry facilities. And that unique opportunity and relationship actually creates workforce learning opportunities. So it might be an apprenticeship, it might be a work-based learning program, but that is kind of the glue that creates that piece. And it also, as you're gonna hear in a minute from our students, these student organizations help students solidify their career choices. They also provide service learning opportunities where they're themselves nonprofits, but they partner with other nonprofits for service learning. And the final thing that I'm gonna touch on is we're looking to continue our underserved populations program. About 10 years ago, we started this program to try to overcome some of those barriers to create meaningful participation in the CTSOs with underserved students and historically disenfranchised populations. We've done that kind of in two different ways. One arm of the program is through professional development, educating career and technical educators and administrators on creating a more inclusive environment through poverty awareness training and equity and inclusion training. And the other part of that program was providing direct grants to the individual student organizations for them to be able to create more diverse leadership and drive a more diverse membership population. So I will be available for questions at the end, but I really do want you guys to hear from our true experts. So go ahead,
Thank you.
say your name.
Go ahead, state your name for the record and proceed.
First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for your time. My name is Sabani Anandkumar. I'm currently a high school senior at Shakopee High School, graduating in June, and I'm honored to have the privilege to speak to you all on behalf of Minnesota HOSA as the current Vice President and Board Representative. Everyone's journey to healthcare is a bit different, and today I'd like to talk to you all about mine. I knew from a young age that I wanted to enter healthcare. However, As a first-generation American with no connections or familial ties to healthcare, I was lost and didn't know how to achieve this goal. Then, towards the end of my freshman year, I joined HOSA Future Health Professionals. In HOSA, I got the guidance and knowledge I otherwise needed to gain. HOSA Future Health Professionals is an international organization, the premier talent pipeline towards healthcare, and is 100% student-led at all levels. We provide our members conferences, competitions, mentorships, leadership opportunities, networking opportunities, a supportive community, and more. Our students have already begun saving lives in the real world. Within the last year, we've had students from Oklahoma save a stabbing victim not even 10 miles from our international conference and had a student talk to the president about mental health. All of this before our students have even graduated college or their respective post-secondary institutions. I also made connections to professionals who guided me in my healthcare disparities research, which is currently being used by clinical educators in clinic diversity training, and it's where I got my first job. It was through HOSA that I learned about an internship with a prominent women's health organization, and I'm using the knowledge gained from the internship to make a proposal to my school board to ensure free menstrual products for students in the district. It was during these internships and projects my passion for women's health was awoken. I learned that we currently have a national shortage of 8,000 OBGYNs as of right now, which is estimated to surpass 22,000 by 2050. As a woman and just a member of our society, it's terrifying to know that our population can't get the care that they deserve. Like me, HOSA has helped students find, recognize, and foster their passions in a safe and supportive community, which is especially crucial when Minnesota specifically is experiencing a 26.7% increase in the need for healthcare professionals from 2020 to 2030 alone, with over 372,668 total job openings needing to be filled, much greater than any other occupation. And while our students have already begun bridging this gap in care, we need more resources and funding to ensure that we can continue to enter the field. HOSA truly molds the health of tomorrow, and to ensure that our lives and our future generations' lives are safe, we need to invest in our future medical leaders. So, I humbly ask you to support this bill so we can continue to provide our members the best resources and education possible, so that they may in turn provide you the best care. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next up, please state your name for the record and proceed.
Hello, committee members. My name is Caleb Jarvis, and I am the president of Minnesota DECA. When I came into high school, I struggled with being shy, quiet, and had an overall lack of confidence. I remember my freshman year of high school when I had to give a presentation in front of my class of 30 people, and I was mortified. Through my time in DECA, I have come to grow my social, public speaking, and communication skills to a point I would have never thought imaginable. It is through not only DECA as well as CTSO opportunities that these previously unimaginable opportunities have become a reality. For those of you who may not know, DECA is a business and marketing competition organization that offers its members the opportunity to compete in various business, marketing, finance, and hospitality-based competitive events. One thing that I personally love about DECA is the variety that it offers to its members. Our members have the opportunity to compete in anything from a sales demonstration, where they give a sales pitch to a judge with an item of their choice, to a community awareness project. In a community awareness project, members can expect to create an awareness campaign centered around an issue in their own community, as well as provide the rationale for the completion of said campaign. When I began my awareness campaign, as this was an event that I competed in at our state conference this past weekend, I looked to my community to attempt to identify potential issues, and one major problem stood out: the opioid crisis. Through this opportunity presented to me by DECA, I successfully ran a fentanyl awareness campaign over the course of the last 5 months. Through the use of fentanyl awareness events, as well as student involvement days at my local high school. I am extremely proud of the outcome. However, it must be said that I would never have had such an opportunity to perform service in my community had it not been for DECA as well as CTSO opportunities. Thank you for listening. It has been an honor.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, go ahead, state your name for the record and proceed.
Mackenzie Alberts. I'm serving as the Minnesota FFA State Secretary. Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for having me here today. Like I said, I'm serving as the Minnesota FFA Secretary, representing nearly 16,000 Minnesota FFA members today. I'm a graduate of Pine Island High School. My experience in career and technical education through agriculture, education courses, and FFA makes me confident in my career pathway. Growing up as the 7th generation on my family's dairy farm, I pretty much had my mind made up. I was going to be a farmer just like Dad. It wasn't until I entered my first agricultural, food, and natural resource science class that my eyes opened to the diverse opportunities available in agriculture. After enrolling in classes with my agriculture teacher and FFA advisor, Mr. Erickson, I discovered the unique possibilities CTE classes provide students. Aside from our production-based classes, I engaged in a modern agriculture and technology course to understand the progressive technology implemented in agricultural sectors daily, and even became a certified tractor operator. The National FFA organization reinforced my education in these classes. FFA provided a chance to grow as an individual and a leader. It gave me a direction for my future. Students are ready for the world because CTE classes and all our student organizations like FFA allow them to learn, grow, and apply their skills to depict who they are and where they are going. Student leaders such as myself lead these student organizations. On Friday, I will facilitate a leadership development conference for middle and high school students alongside my team. We've reached even more students thanks to the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organizations Disadvantaged Population Grants, which remove financial barriers to attending leadership conferences like ours. With over 40% of our students coming from low economic families, the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organizations must continue to fund all student organizations as we apply what we learn in our classrooms and prepare for our future careers and lives as citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Was there one more testifier, I believe? Please go ahead and state your name for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lavin Rada, and I'm here today representing the Minnesota Association of Career and Technical Educators, and I'm a member of the Minnesota Foundation for Student Organizations Board. Each of these students that you have heard from today started in one of our career and technical education classrooms. I am happy to represent those teachers and to invest in these students every single day as we prepare for our future and those that are working in these careers. And just want to share that we fully support this bill and the continued support of our investment in our future leaders and our students across all career and technical education areas. Thank you, and we're open for questions.
Thank you so much. With that, members, I think we'll go to the table for questions or comments. Representative Pryor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have two questions, and one is specifically I was interested in the HOSA organization, and thank you for our testifier. Appreciate your interest and the work that you've done. So an organization like that, I am particularly interested in young people being interested in a career in healthcare because we are desperate. And we are at a crisis right now in all fields of healthcare right now. So how widespread is the organization within Minnesota right now? Are you in some high schools, most high schools?
Go ahead, Ms. Said.
Yes, Emily Sade. Thank you. Thank you for the question. All of our student organizations are statewide. HOSA, I believe right now has between 38 and 42 chapters. So that means that they're in 38 to 42 career and technical education healthcare programs. In order for our student organizations to be in a classroom or to be at a school, they do have to align with a career and technical education program. So you can't just start, unfortunately, as much as we love HOSA, you can't just start a random HOSA chapter, Health Occupation Students of America. You can't just start a random chapter somewhere, but I believe they are aligned with almost all of our healthcare programs at our K-12 level.
Representative Pryor, follow-up
Thank you.
question.
And thank you, Madam Chair. And that does introduce my second question, which is I would also like to understand better the intra aspect of these organizations and how that looks, and then kind of related to that, this additional funding, what that gives us for all of these programs.
Go ahead, Ms. Said, or Ms. Rada.
I'll start and then we'll get into it. So all of our programs are intracurricular. What that means is if you look at career and technical education, they all have 3 components. One of those components is in the classroom. So every single student starts in a classroom, for example, a health occupations classroom, maybe medical terminology. They then are allowed to apply those skills into environments. One of those is a work-based learning environment, which may be anything from job shadowing to a placement or an internship or an apprenticeship. And then the third component is our leadership development program, which is all of our student organizations. So that's the unique thing about career and technical education is they all start in a classroom, but we give them 2 opportunities to apply it, both in real life work experiences, but also through our student organizations, which include leadership and service development and all those socio-emotional pieces.
Thank you. Representative Pryor.
And just that the other part of the question I tacked on, which is we're talking about additional funding to the base, and then, you know, what are the opportunities that you know that you want to expand into that we're not able to capture right now? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Said.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Well, our student organizations, they do get some external funding, a very small amount from membership dues from the students. But in order to keep those membership dues down and to continue to provide the hands-on learning at the conferences with the actual skilled and competitive events, a lot of times those conferences, when we talk about those assessments and those conferences and skilled events, those actually also lead to industry certification, making them workforce ready. So we want to make sure that those opportunities, when we talk about meaningful participation, that's what we mean. We want to make sure that those opportunities, the price tag, the access point for those is available to all populations so that the experience is available to lower income, free and reduced lunch students. And a lot of our programs are in those schools. And a lot of times, these are the programs that are picking up those students.
Representative Pryor, follow-up? Okay, thank you. And I had just a quick question because it has kind of dovetails on Representative Pryor. From what I remember too, in order to get federal Perkins money, you have to have one of these organizations in your school working within the curriculum and the program, right? Ms. Said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Madam Chair, I'm so glad that you brought up Perkins too, because a lot of times, sometimes folks will say to us, well, why don't you use more Perkins money? Can't you get a grant for this and use Perkins money? Well, aside from that, it's using Perkins money, we are able to use some of that, but it's very restrictive. It can't be used on individual students.
No.
So when we talk about servicing underserved and underrepresented populations, you can see clearly I'm frustrated with the Perkins money. We need different money to be able to do that. That's why this is so key and so important.
Thank you. And then Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Clardy. I just love this bill, and I don't think it's any, surprise here in the room, but anytime that we can be supporting our students and giving them these different experiences, I can tell you from firsthand, especially we have 5 kids, but so many of our children have been in these different organizations, and look at how well these students spoke, and that's one of the most frightening things to do in public. And it really is attributed, I loved your testimony, but it really is attributed to these organizations, and I've seen it over and over again, that they teach these life skills like public speaking and things that they would not get just in a regular classroom, because it's very hands-on type experience. So especially with our workforce crisis that we have in Minnesota, and again, we want to be good stewards of Minnesota and what's healthy for Minnesota, This is such a wonderful place I believe, for the education finance to be putting our money to support these and to also, really help students want to stay in school. I toured the Red Wing School District, and they have a great CTE program, just wonderful. And anywhere we can put these dollars, I'm telling you, I see those students just light up in these classrooms, and it really attributes to this. So Representative Clardy, kudos, this is an awesome bill, and please make sure this one gets put in.
Yes, thank you. Representative Clardy, I think you're gonna have a lot of co-authors all of a sudden. So you have authors, houseauthors.com, just like authors@authors.com, .mn. Yeah, make sure you sign up. So, that's a really great connection to having to fund these organizations so we can bring more money in for all those CTE courses and kind of that hand in hand. So I'm gonna go to Representative Knudsen, then Representative Kresha, and then we will be done. Representative
Thank you,
Knudsen.
Madam Chair. And Representative Clardy, thank you for offering this bill, and I am a co-author, and I do support this, and a big shout out to our FFA, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Representative Kresha?
You've covered everything.
All right. With that, I will toss it back over to Representative Clardy for final comments.
Well, I should say I don't have anything to say, but I guess as a committee member, as a parent, as a teacher, as a former school board member, these programs work. Engagement, student engagement, we need to have everything out there that children can engage in to be productive citizens. And these programs are wonderful, and I'm so proud of these guys, and I just want to take them home. But anyway, thank you so much for hearing this bill, and the program says it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Clardy, and thank you to the students. Having your voices here is what makes our work even more valuable, because we have you at the center when we're making decisions. So thank you for all that you're doing and for bringing your voices here. And with that, I will renew the motion to lay over House File 1761 for possible inclusion in the education finance bill.